Hello everyone. In our first class, we have seen about asexual reproduction. Now, in this class, we will learn about the sexual reproduction. So, sexual reproduction is the process of fusion of two compatible gametes or sex cells. And in the process of sexual reproduction, flower plays a very important role. The function of flower is to produce haploid gametes, male and female gametes, and again it ensures the process of fertilization also because it is the fusion of the male and female gamete. Now, let us revise the structure which is important in sexual reproduction called as flower, which we have already studied. So, we will revise it. This flower mainly consists of two types of whorls: accessory whorls. This is also called as non-essential whorls because they do not take part directly in the reproduction. And the other type of whorl is the reproductive whorl because this directly take part in the process of reproduction. Now, accessory whorls are of again two type. One is calyx and the other is corolla. Calyx is the outermost whorl of the flower. This green part that you can see over here is the calyx. And the individual of calyx is known as sepal. This one part that you can see is the sepal, and collectively it is known as calyx. As it is green in color, so the function of calyx is it plays an important role in the process of photosynthesis, and plus it helps or it protects the bud also when the flower is in bud condition. So calyx protects the flower. Next whorl, that is inner to calyx, you will find presence of corolla. These colored part that you can see is corolla. Individual of corolla is known as petal. One petal, another petal, third petal, like that. Commonly 5 petals are present. So individual of corolla is known as petal, and as you will find these petals in various colors, so the function of this corolla or petal is to attract insects for pollination, which we will learn in our next class. Now let us come to the reproductive whorl, which directly take part in the process of reproduction. So the first whorl of reproductive whorl, and you can say third of the whorls which are found in the flower, is the androecium. These structures that you can see over here are the androecium, and the individual of androecium is known as stamen. That means 1 second, like that. These are the stamens present in the flower, and these stamens they produces male gamete. Innermost whorl of a flower is the gynoecium. This part that you can see over here is the gynoecium. Individual of gynoecium is known as pistil or carpel, and this carpel it produces female gamete. When this female and male gamete fuses, the process is known as fertilization. Now, if you will see this fertilization, then again you can say this process is divided into 3 steps. First one is the pre-fertilization, where some changes occurs in the flower before fertilization. These changes are called as pre-fertilization changes. Then next step comes is the fertilization, where actual fusion of male and female gametes takes place. And then the third one is the post-fertilization changes, which occurs after the fertilization. That means whatever the changes occurs to the flower, you can say fruit formation and other things, comes in the post-fertilization changes. Now let us see the male reproductive whorl, which is known as androecium. Individual of androecium, as I have already told, is known as stamen, and this stamen distinguished into 3 main parts: anther, filament, and this is the connective. This filament is the stalk-like structure which holds this anther. There are 2 anther lobes, one lobe, another lobe. So there are 2 anther lobes, and these anther lobes are joined together by this connective. In this diagram also you can see this is the connective, one anther lobe, another anther lobe. Now here you can see that one anther lobe of the stamen is again divided into two parts, which I have shown with the two different colors. One is red and other is blue part. So these are known as thecas, and this structure is known as monothecus. So it has almost, I mean, two anther lobes are there. So it is a structure known as dithecus, and like 1, 2, 3, and 4 thecas are present over here. So the structure is known as tetrathecus. That means 4 thecas are present. So it is tetra means 4. Tetrathecus structure is there. This connective mainly possesses connective, vascular tissues are present in the connective. These anther lobes, they show presence of pollen sacs. You can see pollen sacs are shown over here, and in each anther lobe you will find that, or in each theca you will find one pollen sac. So in all, as it is a tetrathecus structure, so you will find 4 pollen sacs are present. Now let us see the structure of anther. Initially, anther is a mass of parenchymatous tissues which later differentiate into archisporial cells, and then again these archisporial cells distinguish into sporogenous cells. Here in this diagram you can see sporogenous cells are shown, and again outer primary parietal cell also you will see. Here also in this diagram also you can see 4 sporangium or pollen sacs are present. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 sporangium or pollen sacs are present. So again it will be called as tetrasporangiate structure. Now if we see this transverse section of the anther, then we will find that each sporangium has 4 wall layers. 4 wall layer is there. The outermost wall is known as epidermis. Here you can see the outermost wall is known as epidermis. Inner to this epidermis you will find endothecium. Endothecium is present inner to the epidermis. Then inner to this endothecium you will find presence of middle layer. This middle layer is there, and these pollen sacs are enclosed by the fourth layer of the anther, which is known as tapetum. This tapetum is the nutritive layer of an anther. That means whenever the microspore or the pollen grain will develop, so they will receive nourishment from this particular layer. Now this tapetum, it encloses sporogenous cells. You can see over here sporogenous cells are present here. These sporogenous cells are the result of differentiation of parenchymatous tissues, which I have already told you. These tissues are also called as microspore mother cell. These are known as these cells. These cells are known as microspore mother cell. Now this MMC or microspore mother cell undergoes reduction division. Here you can see one microspore mother cell is shown, and this undergoes reduction division or meiosis. So this microspore mother cell divides meiotically, and after meiosis or after the cell division it forms 4 pollen grains. Here you can see 4 pollen grains are shown. So each microspore mother cell, it divides meiotically and form a tetrad. Tetrad, 4 cells are there. Tetrad of haploid microspore, or it forms pollen grain. This structure that you can see is a pollen grain. Now let us see the structure of the pollen grain, which is a result of meiotic division of a microspore mother cell. This is the pollen grain, and this pollen grain is non-motile. That means it does not have a capability of a movement. It cannot move. It is unicellular. That means it has a single cell structure and has a single nucleus also. Initially, it has a single nucleus. This pollen grain or microspore has two layers. Here you can see two layers are present. Outer exine, this outer part, outer wall is the exine, and this exine is made up of a substance called as sporopollenin. Inner to this exine, you will find the presence of intine. This part is called as intine. This exine can be either smooth or it can be sculptured. In this diagram, you can see sculptured or a spiny structure is present. So it is a sculptured one. It can be smooth also. And together, collectively, this intine and exine is known as sporoderm. Again, with this, you will find there is a presence of some pores are present at this particular part of the microspore, which is helpful in the germination. Like whenever this will grow and divide by any cell division, so it will form a pollen tube. This is a site of a germination. Now we have to see how pollen grain or microspore develops into male gametophyte. When these pollen grains falls on receptive stigma, some changes occurs over there, or before that also these changes may occur. The pollen starts to germinate. In this germination process, nucleus of a pollen goes through mitosis and gives two daughter nuclei. You can see this pollen grain, it has a single nucleus, and then by the process of mitosis, by the process of cell division, it forms two cells or two nuclei are formed, two daughter nuclei are formed here. These two nuclei, which are the result of mitotic division, form a small cell. This one. This small cell is known as generative cell, and the larger one is known as vegetative cell. This vegetative cell, it contains food reserve. Like for further development, this food reserve is important. Whenever this will fall on the receptive stigma, at that time this food reserve will be helpful in the further development. Now at this stage, generative cell divides mitotically and it forms two non-motile gametes. Here in this diagram you can see two non-motile gametes are formed. These two, one and the other one. And simultaneously the germ pore enlarges due to the nutrient absorption from the stigma. That means whenever it falls on the stigma, at that time it receives nourishment from the stigma also, and thus this germ pore, it starts to enlarge and it forms a pollen tube. Earlier I have told you that about the mitotic division of a generative cell. So sometime this can occur after the germination or after the elongation of pollen tube also. So now we have two male gametes which travels through this pollen tube and it try to reaches to the ovary of a female reproductive part or the female gametophyte. Now let us go to the development of female reproductive part. So carpel or pistil is the individual unit of gynoecium. Here is a figure of a pistil. It distinguishes into stigma, style and ovary. Now a flower can have one or more than one carpel. So when a flower has many carpels, like here you can see many carpels are there. When these carpels they are free or separated from each other, these are separated from each other, so the condition is known as apocarpus. And if these pistil they are fused together, the condition is known as syncarpus condition. And here you will find this ovary contains ovules. Here you can see ovules are present. when it is free, so each pistil will have separate ovules, but when it is fused in a single locule only, you will find presence of ovules. Now let us study the formation of female gamete or the egg cell or a development of female gametophyte. For this further development, ovule which are present in ovary of a carpel are responsible. The ovule can be of different type, but here in this class we'll be mainly dealing with the anatropous ovule as it is very common in angiosperm. So this ovule remains attached with the ovary. This is the part where it remains attached to the ovary by this small stalk. This is the small stalk known as funiculus, and this remains attached through to the ovule to the ovary by placenta. This funiculus is attached to the main body of the ovule. This is ovule, this is funicle, and this funicle remains attached to this ovule. Here you will find the presence of hilum. So it remains attached by the structure called as hilum. Now this ovule, it consists of a central parenchymatous tissue. Here you will find parenchymatous tissues, and this, like at initial stages, it is known as nucellus. This nucellus is surrounded or protected by two protective covering. Here you can see these are the protective coverings, and these are known as integuments, outer integument and inner integument. These integument shows presence of a opening at the apex of the ovule. Here you can see a opening, and this opening of the integument is known as micropyle. And opposite to this micropyle, you will find the presence of chalaza. This part is the chalaza. And if we see this ovule, then micropyle is attached downward and present near to the funicle. Okay, this micropyle is near to the funicle and exactly opposite to the chalaza. So this position is known as anatropous ovule. Sometimes other type of ovules are also found depending on the position of this micropyle, funicle and chalaza. These three decides the type of ovule. Now let us come back to the nucellus. This nucellus has a structure called as embryo sac or female gametophyte. This is oval in shape. You can see this is, or in previous slide also you can see this was oval in shape, and this is known as female gamete or megaspore. So now the megaspore formation has taken place. The process of formation of haploid megaspore from a diploid megaspore mother cell. It forms from the diploid megaspore mother cell, and the process it is known as megasporogenesis. This process is known as megasporogenesis, or it is the development of female gametophyte. Now the embryo sac of a nucellus, which is known as a diploid megaspore mother cell, it divides meiotically and it forms 4 haploid cells. Here in this diagram you can see this is the megaspore mother cell. This megaspore mother cell, it divides meiotically and forms 4 haploid cells. Later, these the 3 cells of this 4 haploid cells degenerates and only one becomes prominent. Now this one megaspore or embryo sac, which is haploid megaspore, it gradually develops, and later by the cell division called as mitosis, it forms 2 nuclei, and in later stages it again forms 8 nuclei. Here in this diagram you can see 8 nuclei are there 3 plus 3 plus 2, 8 nuclei are there. Here you can see in this diagram, like at initial stages you will find that these are what all the 8 nucleus, they get arranged at these 2 poles, one pole and the other pole. All the 4 cells, it comes here and 4 here. Then in later stages what happens, that one from this end and one from this end comes to the center. Here it comes, the 2 cells, 2 nucleus, they comes here at the center, and they are called as polar nuclei. Here you can see this, these two are polar nuclei, one from this end and one from this end. 3 nuclei which are present at micropolar end. Here this part, this end is a micropolar end, and at this end you will find presence of egg apparatus. This complete structure is known as egg apparatus. You will find the presence of egg cell or the female gamete, haploid female gamete or egg cell. With this you will find the presence of 2 synergids. These are the synergids, and together it forms a egg apparatus. The role of these synergids is to guide or show the way to the pollen tube towards the egg cell. On the other hand, at the collegial end, you will find that there is a presence of 3 antipodals. These are the antipodals. Now at the center, here at the center, these 2 polar nuclei, they fuses with each other and forms a diploid secondary nucleus. In later stages it is known as diploid secondary nucleus, and this happens just before the fertilization. Before fertilization, the 2 nuclei from both the ends fuses together and forms a diploid secondary nucleus. This diploid secondary nucleus, it possesses 2 nuclei, and thus this complete structure is known as female gametophyte, and this is 8 nucleated because 8 nuclei are present, and 7-celled structure because now at the latter stages only 7 cells are present over here, so it is 8 nucleated 7-cell structure. And now it is known as embryo sac. This is completely known as mature embryo sac. So this was the development of the female gametophyte. Now how the fusion takes place and what are the post fertilization changes, that we will study in very soon. But before that we will learn about the pollination, which is the process of deposition of anthers or the pollen grains over the receptive stigma or the carpel.